In this video, I'm going to demonstrate PostTrans importing timesheets, but this time we're going to import 7 days worth of timesheets in each single line. So here I am on a PostTrans template. I access this from the PostTrans toolbar, help, and I just type time in there, and I can double click on the week example. This opens this workbook, and you can see there's many other examples down here and slight variations of the same thing. So we've already got some data entered in here, but let's just talk about the structure. Before I begin, I suppose I should say if I'm going too fast, and I do like to keep the pace of these videos quite brisk, press spacebar to pause, and if you use arrow left or right, you can go backwards a few seconds or forwards a few seconds, so that may help you. So let's talk about the structure. At the top here, we call this the header section. And you can see here we already have 2 fields in the header section. If we hover over any of these fields, you can see there we get context sensitive, kind of like help. Now what PostTrans does is when you press the import extract button, it reads all this information, and it reads row 28 for a series of tags. Now each tag tells PostTrans what data's in each column. If you want to know more about this, there's a online training course under the Sage 200 menu on our website, which explains all the structure and how you manipulate it. But effectively, the tags button up here gives you access to all the tags. You just double click and add them to the spreadsheet. And of course, some are not needed and some are required. So let's discuss the data in the sheet. So in cell C4, we've got the start working day. So what that does is it sets the date of PT Day 1 tag. So if your company works from a Sunday onwards, so Sunday the first working day, then you set this to the appropriate date for a Sunday. If it's Monday, then you set it to Monday, in which case you'd have to move all these little tags along. But that's how the columns of day for each day are allocated to the correct date. Under works number, I have all my employees, so I can set that very easily. Down below here we have the project, so if I press space and tab away, I can see all my live projects, followed by project items. So again, I'm just pressing space and tab away. If I type the number in, a matching number or the start of, then that will actually hone down that searching into a particular value. But I'm just showing you every value here. So I would type in what I did that week, and maybe we'd book. And of course you could already set up some of these standard or basic rate codes, or maybe you could add your own lookup. The bit on the right here is optional, and normally that would be empty. And as you see, when I post the data into Sage 200, it will populate this column with the total charge and cost rate for each line. So I have some kind of confirmation of the values being booked into Sage 200. If you saw my previous video on importing lists, you'll know that I can actually have a column that overrides the charge and cost rate. It's just not actually on this example, but I could easily add that. And basically, if the value is not blank, sorry, if the cell isn't blank, or it doesn't contain -1, it will set to whatever value. So if you want to book free time, for instance, you can put a 0 in there. It would just override the rate codes within Sage 200. So let's see that post. Go press the import button. So now we're seeing a summary of the first line. If there are any errors, then PostTrans wouldn't allow me to post it, and it would list the errors either on the confirmation or in the first column of the spreadsheet. So let's just post that line in, and you can see there it wrote the total charge and cost rate to the right hand column there. Tick here, do not ask again, and we'll post all that in. So there we can see we posted everything in. It looks like some people haven't got charge rates set up, and some seem to have cost and charge rates set to the same value. But again, oh hello, it's actually told me there's an invalid. A valid project must be specified. Okay, so maybe there was something wrong with that line. But you can see there the how it reports things, so we can probably work out what's wrong and correct that on the import and try again. Okay, so I can see what's wrong here. The project item should have been CAD for that project, and I think if we now post it again, it posts successfully. So you can see there validation working. Everything should follow exactly the same rules for any user within Sage 200 itself.